Hello and welcome to another episode of the Andrew Reader Show. Today we're interviewing Pam Hall, the City Councilwoman of Ward 1. Thank you for being here today, Pam.
Thank you for having me.
So, where did you grow up?
I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan, but raised in Saginaw Township. My father was a General Motors executive and my mother was a medical technologist.
Okay.
My father's family is from Detroit in the automotive industry, and my great aunt was a teacher. My mother's family is from Flint, Michigan, and her father was in the refrigeration business, and her mother was an executive office manager. I have an older brother who works in IT and a younger sister who works in a doctor's office.
All right. So, these people are your adopted family, right?
Correct.
So, how did being adopted ever affect you?
Okay. I was told I was adopted at an age that I could understand what it meant. I love my family I was raised with, but I was always curious about my birth family. The adoptive agency tried to match up similar backgrounds and interests, but there were political and religious differences. However, I do get my red hair from a grandparent. On the adopted side, the redhead was a maternal grandmother, and on the birth side, it was a paternal grandfather.
Oh, okay. So, did you ever find your biological family?
Thankfully, I got a chance to meet the birth family years ago. My birth parents were college students, both originally from Wichita, Kansas. My birth mother was an appointee of Governor Richardson and considered a living treasure for the work she's done with the environment. Her mother is part Cheyenne Native American, and her father was a farmer. My birth father is a college professor in California. His mother died shortly after giving birth to him. My birth father's father was an esteemed psychologist and poet, and his mother is one of our country's first suffragists. After she helped gain women the right to vote, she ran for office twice. On the birth family side, I have a half-sister who's a professional photographer and a half-brother who's a professional musician. And on my birth mother's side, a half-brother who's, on birth father's side, a half-brother who's a professional magician on my birth father's side. I have two wonderful children who were born in Midland, and they live in California now. My daughter's an actress, and she has her own Pilates business, and my son went to LA Film School, and he to become a director, and he also works in medicinal supplies. My daughter is recently married, and her husband does business consulting. He has a son and daughter from a prior marriage. And my kid's father was also raised in Saginaw Township and worked at Dow approximately 20 years. His mother is Irish, has a Centennial Farm family in Freeland. His father's Greek and was an entrepreneur in the food business.
Oh, okay. So, when you're running for City Council, the election started with you, Jeremy Rogers, and John, am I saying this right, Mativa?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you originally think of your opponents?
Okay. Although it was the first time I ran for office at City Council, I had been the first nominee as a Democratic candidate to run against Gary Glenn, but I turned that down due to still unresolved issues from damages that occurred from the 2017 flood in Midland. John Mativa worked in Midland's Park and Recreation, and neighbor and friends with Tom Adams, a former city councilman for Ward 1, so I thought John would be tough to beat. Jeremy Rogers was the youngest candidate running for City Council. He was already studying politics in college and had completed Citizens Academy training. He was a field director for former attorney Bill Schutte and campaign manager for state representative for 98th District Gary Glenn. I had actually talked to Jeremy several times on calls that I made to the office when he and talked about important issues. He was always polite. The campaign had gotten really ugly, and I won't go into details here, but it only showed me all the more reason to stay engaged if we really want to make a difference and protect our democracy, freedoms, and way of life here.
All right. So then after the primary election, it left you and Rogers running very close. How did you personally feel at that point?
Well, when it was announced, I was crying. And so that's pretty much been recorded, my reaction to it. It was very joyous. I was really surprised that other people that were running did not win. I was surprised that I won. So.
And then when you finally won, it was only by a margin of 24 votes, right?
Very close, but
Very
like
close.
I said, things got ugly, and I'm not going to go into detail here. But everybody was trying. I believe I played a fair game with this, and I've learned a lot in the process.
And then when you won, you must have felt really happy about that.
I do. I feel very, very happy to have been the person chosen to be the city council person. Yes, absolutely.
So on top of being city council person, you produce your own show here, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And what is that called?
It's called Earth News. And there are so very many critical issues facing our nation and the world right now. I felt it was important to have a show to talk about these things. A Bernie supporter since the 2016 election, I joined Pantsuit Nation in the aftermath, and many groups responding or re-energizing. I participated with the First Women's March, a movement that swept our country and even went international. In January 2017, there was a group here, and there were others from our group that were in Washington, D.C. And it's there when I met an incredible fellow musician as well as many other amazing people. Her name is Chris Pridehelm, and her original song, Water is Life, is the song that I chose to play at the end of Earth News. Other members of WOMEN, which stands for the Women of Michigan Action Network, also have been continuing to participate in women's marches every year, and including 2018. And I've attended the 2019 Women's March in D.C. with a busload of excited Democrats. It's truly inspiring to see so many people fully engaged in the democratic process.
Okay, so on top of being with WOMEN, the Women of Michigan Action Network, you're also with Moms Demand Action?
Correct. Moms Demand Action is a group I got involved with as our community and nation was engaging in important discussions regarding gun violence in our country. I'm a gun violence survivor several times over, so this group was great to find and connect with. It's a nonpartisan group. They have been wonderfully supportive and educational, and they are doing everything they possibly can to stop these horrible things from occurring to people. They are not abolitionists. They support the Second Amendment of rights, but rather focus on sensible gun legislation that is beholden to the gun manufacturers and lobbyists. There are many groups out there with different ways to deal with the situation. But the other groups affiliated with Moms Demand Action are Everytown for Gun Safety, Wear Orange for Gun Safety Awareness, and Be Smart program for kids.
Okay. And then you're also involved with the Citizens Climate Lobby?
Citizens Climate Lobby is very close to my heart for many reasons. Environment has always been important to me, and I was excited to see I had a genetic connection to this issue as my birth mother has made a difference in the environment, protecting and saving natural areas. Discovering so many like-minded and engaged people in protecting our natural environment has been encouraging. I interviewed our area CCL leader, that's Citizens Climate Lobby, Jim Chrisman, on my last Earth News. Although I missed the Washington, D.C. trip this year, I am attending the regional conference, and I'm looking forward to learning all I can and addressing real ways we can do our part in this crucial time, a nonpartisan issue again.
Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. So then, what's this I hear about the Green New Deal? You're very involved with that, right?
Right. On my third episode of Earth News, I touch on the Green New Deal and the Sunrise Movement, but I intend to delve into those further on future episodes. The Sunrise Movement was started by youth to save the planet. 150 species go extinct every day, and ultimately it will affect the future of mankind. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders originated the Green New Deal. The basic principles are to reduce carbon emissions while providing green energy jobs to marginalized people groups and improving our economy while protecting our earth. And many actions are coming up this week regarding the urgency of climate change and global warming. There will be a climate stick event with group leader Pat Race at BMO's in Bay City. Fellow musician Chris Pridehelm, 20 Songbirds and 23 North Band, performing at BMO's Bar in Bay City this Thursday. September 19th from 5 to 10. And then this Friday, September 20th, is a national and international climate strike event. Climate strike teach-in will be happening locally at CMU Bovey Campus Center starting at 9 a.m. Then this Saturday, September 21st, there are at least 5 different groups events with an event called We the People, who will be at the Bandshell in Bay City from noon to 2.
All right. So, I think we've covered most of your current activities. So in the future, do you plan to run for City Council again?
I do plan to run for Midland City Council, Ward 1 again. This experience has already taught me so much, and I'm trying to make a difference for all the people, including the ones who felt like their voices weren't being heard. I have many opportunities to sort out right now, but the one that stands out and still is on my agenda is to follow up with hopefully working with our Attorney General Dana Nessel as a legal aid. Our laws are where what is being enforced is being decided, so it's very important work that she's doing.
Okay. Do you have any other goals or opportunities beyond that?
Just to continue to try to see my children more often. They live so far away,
Yeah.
and it's been challenging because I am a senior on a budget.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you very much for coming down here and letting Midland know a little more about their City Councilwoman, Pam.
Thank you.
The Andrew Reeder Show is a show dedicated to discovering Midland and its leaders. Thank you.